All right, everybody. Thank you for jumping on this video and welcome to kinesiology 4327 biomechanics. We're going to step in here. I'm Dr. Bryon Applequist, and I'm going to be bringing on my buddy Hank, who we did our undergraduate with. So this is Hank Ebeling. He is the founder of H4 Training. And then recently, I didn't know that you were an author. I jumped on your LinkedIn and saw that you have a book there. So he's a author of Crushing the Competition with Service. You can go find that on Amazon and get that. And he's also a host of a podcast called Success Trails Podcast. So it is my pleasure to welcome Hank here and hopefully share some insights and some of his journey to get into the industries that he'll share with us here. So welcome, Hank.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian. Happy to share some insights with you and everybody else here.
All right, perfect. Okay, so we can go ahead and just get started. So Hank, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? Where did you go to school? What degrees or certifications do you have? Kind of the foundation of what got you where you're at.
I'll kind of sum it up quick. So originally from suburbs of Chicago, went to UNLV with Brian, got a degree in kinesiology, bachelor's there. Had lots of stops along the way after that in the fitness industry, some chain type gyms, all the way up until 8 years ago, kind of branching off and opening my own H4 training. And then a couple of years after that, opening a second location. So that's kind of where we sit today, which 2 locations and, 12 plus years into the fitness industry.
Tell us what you're currently doing for work with the gyms you're growing, how you're growing, and within the fitness industry. What was your journey like getting there?
So while in school, started training at the Venetian Hotel, and then along the way as well at a place called Fitness Together, which I'm not even sure if they're around. They were kind of a franchise. Anybody that is interested in training at some point or owning their own gym, you got to dive in as soon as possible into the training field, because you can read all the books, go all the classes, get all the degrees, certs, but you actually got to do it, practice on people, see if what you actually know, you can apply it. Can't just be about the book. So tried to dive in early and get as much experience from that standpoint. And then once I got out of school, continued that journey in Chicago to a place called Equinox, which is a higher end gym. Highly recommend younger trainers looking to get into the field. They pay well, great education, and a great environment. You work with a higher end demographic. So spent almost 7 years there managing and training. And that was kind of a lot of the basis for what we did with my own gyms after that.
Is that kind of like a Lifetime? They're similar to a Lifetime?
They're smaller. They're all in major cities. It's a higher end facility price wise. You're getting the lawyers, you're getting the finance guys, very clean, top notch training. If you're in New York, LA, Miami, Chicago, Dallas, those big markets, you're going to find Equinox.
Okay. All right. What does H4 look like? What do you guys do at H4?
Yeah, so we're all small group training. It's kind of been the it thing over the last, I'd say maybe 10 years or so. It's a good model because it brings in more money for you, whether you're just a trainer or a business owner, because you can make more per hour. And it's good for the clients because they get the benefits of the group dynamic, which is the energy and the competitiveness if they like that. And they also get a little more attention than they would if it was a boot camp, right? And the price point's kind of in the middle. If you're doing one-on-one training, it's very expensive. If you're doing boot camp, it's very cheap, but you don't get that attention, right? So it's just kind of smack dab in the middle. So it's a good model. We've kind of adopted it from the beginning, kind of seeing where the fitness industry was going. And I love kind of what we do from a standpoint of how we set things up. It's all full body workouts, circuit based, and functional training. So we have no machines. It's all free weights, a cable machine, TRX, kettlebells, things like that.
Okay, cool. So I think a lot of people can relate to that type of training. So it's definitely a good niche to be in, especially if you're meeting in the middle of that super high end cost wise versus the boot camp, which is, let's go meet up at the park and really not get anything good out of it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So what kinds of hurdles or difficulties did you come across or find along the way as a small business owner trying to get into the fitness kind of health industry and performance, if you want to jump into that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think if anytime you're going to open a business, you got to have money, so you got to make sure you got the financials, and then you have to the right market, the right area where you're going to open, so you can have that demographic that you want, and then just training in general. Even before opening a business, a lot of your students maybe want to get into training. Personal training, the one hard thing about it is it's a very up and down. There's no consistency unless you're really good or when you get good in terms of a paycheck. So most jobs, I know I'm making this much every other week or every week, whatever the payment plan is that you get. But fitness, personal training, lots of up and down, right? You could be up here, you lose some clients, you're here, then you gain some, you lose some, you gain some, you lose some. At the start, when you're building your client base, the money's just not there. So you have to be in it for the love of it, and then you have to be good, because then the money will come, but it might take some time. Whereas there's lots of other careers out there where it's just very consistent and you know what you're going to get. But personal training, again, if you're really good, there is a high ceiling, but it just might take some time to get there. So I think that's a hurdle for anyone in the fitness industry, whether you're just doing it yourself at a gym or when you open your own business. It takes that time to build a base.
All right, so tell us a little bit about kind of I guess it's a change in focus, the book, as far as what are you trying to convey, or what are you doing with the book?
Yeah, I mean, for your students, it's really all about customer service. Going back to my days as a trainer, just by myself, then at a gym, then our business, everything's all about care and commitment to the client, which a lot of businesses and trainers, it's about them, right? It's about money first and the client second. So I try to take the opposite approach. So what can you do as a trainer, as a business person, as a athletic trainer, physical therapist, you name it? The really way you can always stand out in any industry is by delivering great service and a great experience. So that tends to just kind of get forgotten about, especially us trainer nerds, fitness nerds. We're always, what's the coolest exercise, or my workout's so great, and all that stuff's very important, but it's about service, how you're treating people, what are you doing, those little extra things. So the book's all about taking care of your clients, your customers, and being able to grow your business in a competitive market by that focus.
Yeah, so tapping in back to your customer service, Canyon Ranch, Venetian kind of days, and kind of set the plate for that. Because I worked at the Venetian too, and that's what it was all about. They didn't care about anything except for making the customer happy. And if you
Exactly.
take that perspective first, then you're going to retain your customers, and that's where the money's going to come from.
100%.
Yeah, cool. So what's one lesson your job taught you that you think that everyone should learn at some point in their life?
I think the biggest lesson is just make sure that you're going to continue to learn. Again, students listening, you're in school right now, so you are learning, but you have to continue. You graduate a year after, years after, multiple years after. You have to continue to educate yourself and grow, because no matter what industry you're going to, take yourself to in the fitness or maybe it's medical route, the education doesn't stop after you get that diploma. You have to keep going. And those that excel, that are successful, they're always reading, always going to seminars. So early on, just realizing it's okay to spend the money on the book, spend the money on a workshop, spend the money on, a conference, whatever the case may be. If it makes you better, you'll make up the money at some point. So don't be cheap on yourself. Invest in your, bank of knowledge, if you will.
With that, I guess if you're trying to strengthen the person mentally, or at least from that perspective, what's the most important personality trait or strength that someone would need to work in the fitness industry to be successful?
Yeah, I think like anything, well, I'll give you a couple. One, you got to be passionate, because it'll come across if you're really not into it at the end of the day, right? If you're just kind of like doing it as a job. Fitness tends to have a lot of people who just do it as almost like a side hustle, or I'll just make a couple extra bucks, or I like to work out, but they're not really into it. So that'll come across. So I'd say you have to have passion. Definitely the C word, you got to care, because that'll also come across. You really don't care about the other person's goals. Um, and then I'd say the last thing would just be, you got to be persistent, because there's a lot of sales involved in terms of you're constantly got to be getting new people, because people will come and go, hopefully less go if you're giving them a great experience. But you kind of got to be persistent and relentless, because if you're not, early on, you might, I don't have clients, this is hard, I'm not making the money, you just kind of give up. But if you're persistent, relentless with it, you'll kind of get through it and you'll be successful. So those would be the three, I would say: persistence, passion, and then care.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go in the Wayback Machine now. What was your worst or least favorite college class that you took?
Wow, in fitness relation or just anything?
You can give one of each, sure. College in
Uh,
general, and then in your kines.
yeah, I'll be honest, I can't remember the exact class, but just anything that had to do with math, just because terrible at it, and a lot of it I just think doesn't apply to real life. And then I'd say the second one would be probably accounting. That was really hard. And as a business owner, you got to kind of know some accounting, but you still end up having a professional do it. So you just need to know just enough. And accounting has to do with math. So I would say math and accounting were the worst and least favorite.
I remember being in XFiz and in biomechanics with you in study groups and late night stuff and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the one guy's name? Massingale? That was
Yes.
that was the best class. I'm gonna flip up my collar. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you might have unbuttoned the top one too.
Yeah.
All right. So switch gears a little bit. What's the best or most influential book that you've read, and why?
Ooh. I would say a great book for anyone to read is, now I'm spacing on the title, I think it's Power of Persuasion, Influence, but it's Robert Cialdini. I always forget how to say his name. Power of Persuasion, Influence. Just look up Robert Cialdini. I think he's a professor based out of Arizona State, but awesome stuff in terms of influence and persuasion and the power up here, and that's applied to any business. And it's really interesting read, especially if you're into psychology, the subjects of psychology like I am. So I think that's a great book, and it really puts a lot into perspective.
Especially if you're looking at as you're trying to grow your business, like what are you going to be able to do to connect with people to get them to buy into what you're selling them? And
Yes.
like you're selling them, yeah, you have a gym, you want them to work out, but really it's the healthy lifestyle and improving that kind of thing. So if you can get them to buy into that, then they're going to stick with you. And so that's good to have that kind of background to talk to them or address them where they're at.
And another book, it's kind of similar top, but it's one of the most sold books of all time. It's old school, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's like one of those you like every year over and over. It's about like basic principles that apply to everyday life that you just take for granted, but like when you do them, it kind of works like magic. It's very simple things, easy read, highly suggest. Like we give those to every new employee and interns. So yeah, I would definitely check those two out.
Yeah, the Carnegie books, they're like pretty much every single one that he's written has been pretty fantastic. Yeah, I've read quite a few of his books. All right, let's see. What do we have left? What advice do you have for an undergraduate student that is interested in working in fitness or athlete performance in some aspect?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it, and that was get as much experience as you can, even when you're in school. And that could just be tell your friends you'll train them for free, tell your boyfriend, girlfriend you'll train them. whoever you can get to write programs and just see, you might be like, I hate this, I don't like this, or I'm terrible at it, I got to grow. So I would do that. And then I would also not let other people tell you that it's not a career. I think fitness, especially in the training side of it, tends to get kind of poo-pooed on, like, oh, it's not a real career, you got to be a physical therapist or maybe an athletic trainer. Fitness isn't a job, it's it's like a hobby. But that's not the case now. With any job, if you're good at it and you find the right spot, you're going to make the money you want. So don't be deterred by other people telling you that's not a true career path.
Yeah, I think that's great advice there. What's the most enjoyable thing you find about the career path that you've chosen?
Yeah, I mean, the common answer, which is true, it can be cheesy, which is, hey, you do change people's lives. I mean, at the end of the day, you're seeing people with tremendous weight loss, being able to play with their grandkids, having their knees, they can't move because their knees, and they get stronger. And so that part of it's awesome. But to me, I think it's just not hard work. I mean, running a business is hard work, but just training in general in the environment. I mean, you're in t-shirts, shorts, you're pretty much just hanging out with people. Yeah, you're telling them what to do and motivating them, but you're not at a desk all day. You're not doing spreadsheets. I mean, it's not very hard at the end of the day compared to what you could be doing in many other careers. So I just think, it's enjoyable from that standpoint.
Yeah, do what you love, right?
Yep.
Okay, so this would be the last thing I asked the last person I interviewed as well. Is what's one question that you wish that I had asked you that I didn't, and how would you have answered that question?
That is a good one. I guess I would say certifications. That's a good one. You didn't ask about certifications because that's a common thing people ask. Like, do I need to get certified? Who should I get certified with? Certification is important because it's from a liability standpoint, and it just makes you look more credible. So keep that in mind, but then also keep in mind it doesn't make you a better trainer. Just because you have a certification and I don't doesn't mean you're a better trainer. It just means you're a certified trainer. So it really doesn't make you any better. It's just, again, liability and credibility. And if you're looking to get certified, I'd probably say the best three would be ACSM, which I'm certified through ACE, and then NASM, or I guess a fourth one would be NSCA. So look at those four. Those are your best ones. You can find a million certs online that are like $5 that are complete garbage, but you kind of want a little more reputable one. So any of those four, but don't let that just be like, hey, I'm good, I can start training, I know what I'm doing. Like, that's just got to be like a baseline.
Okay. All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with me and with my students. And hopefully they found this interview insightful, and they'll be able to take some information away from it and apply that to their futures or their current life as a student, and then their future careers going forward. So thanks again, Hank. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Bryon. If anyone has any questions or needs some advice, shoot me a message. You can follow me on social. Be happy to answer and connect for sure.
Okay, I'll try to remember to share all of your socials out there. I'm not too active on the socials, so I got to do that.
Thanks again, though. Thank you, guys.